Good morning. So I'm the other Owens. I'm a little less well-known than Candace, but how great was she? What a great conference this has been. We've heard from some amazing speakers. President Trump, Senator Mitch McConnell, Senators Marsha Blackburn and Joni Ernst, Secretary Elaine Chao, and so many others. I grew up looking up to and admiring so many of the people that spoke at the conference this week, and somehow I was lucky enough to be on the same stage as them. I think this shows how truly exceptional America can be. I want to thank Faith and Freedom for hosting this amazing event, uniting this group of freedom-loving Americans and the work Faith and Freedom does each and every day to advance policy and legislation, educate and mobilize voters, and advocate for limited government. It is truly a pleasure to be with you all this morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Amanda, and I'm the founder of Future Female Leaders. We are a women's organization that is building, cultivating, and empowering the next generation of conservative women. You might have seen some of our young women in our signature elephant skirts this week. How many of you have seen those wonderful women? You might have heard the common phrase, "We need more boots on the ground," which is true, but here at FFL, we are proud to bring more high heels to the ground. I started our organization, Future Female Leaders, in 2012 in the most unconventional of ways. But before I get to that, my childhood was every bit of conventional. I was raised with true American values like personal responsibility, patriotism, and independence. An American flag was always flying on my front porch, and nights before dinner, my dad and I would play a game of being able to recite the US presidents in chronological order or quizzing each other on the capitals of each state. Yes, Millard Fillmore was indeed a US president, and yes, we were kind of nerds. Politics was frequent discussion at my dinner table, and one of my favorite activities was watching the news with my dad when he came home from work. Soon I was off to college, and I got my first taste of backlash for being a conservative. But don't worry, this story has a happy ending. I survived college without becoming a liberal. 2012 was the first presidential election I was allowed to vote in. I took that responsibility very seriously. The left had spread the talking point that conservatives were waging a war on women. I was being told by the media and the left that I hated myself, or I was pushing my gender back 50 years, or my favorite, voting against my own rights. Which is quite interesting because still to this day, I don't know a single right that men have that women do not. I have to be honest though, at the time, their words shook me. I knew I was a conservative and why I was a conservative, but sometimes I couldn't help but feel alone in my principles and my beliefs. I truly felt like I didn't have a community of fellow like-minded young women, and I craved a place of support that I could discuss politics and current events beyond my family's kitchen table. My family, who I love very much, suffered the consequences of this hole in my life. They were often on the receiving end of my daily political rants. In fact, my mother once told me in a tough love fashion, "Amanda, you get on your soapbox more than Rush Limbaugh." I wanted an outlet to share my opinions, but also grow confidence in my beliefs. One July night in 2012, in my childhood bedroom, I opened up my laptop and made an anonymous Twitter account devoted to sharing my political beliefs to anyone that would hear them. So let's put some added emphasis on the word anonymous. I was so uncomfortable with sharing my political views as a young conservative woman with my friends, my classmates, and the world, that I stayed completely anonymous for years. In fact, there was members of my family and my friends who didn't know it was me for the first year. I wish I could say that that fear that I felt was an isolated event, but I've come to learn that it is a feeling that so many young conservative women constantly feel each and every day. When I created this account, I didn't do it to try to change the world, but purely as a sounding board for my daily soapbox. Those musings included the highs, the lows, the good days, and the bad days. And to my surprise, the tweets ranging from politics to those feelings of being a college-age American woman began resonating with thousands of conservative women across the country. Suddenly, I didn't feel so alone anymore. Knowing there are other women out there like me was reassuring. I was getting tweets, messages, and emails every day from women who were on their liberal campuses and would come home feeling defeated after a day with their liberal professors and peers, and they would find FFL's tweets and find comfort in them. I wanted something to unite us as a group and symbolize our newfound camaraderie, so with my paycheck from my part-time job in college, I bought a few hundred koozies or drink holders. They were bold and feminine, but sassy, and they were pink and green with an elephant in the term, "I'm always right." It was quite the big investment to a young college woman trying to make her way in the world, but I was soon shipping these koozies across the country in between my college classes and my part-time job. Yet I still had a bunch on hand on Election Day in 2012, and unfortunately we lost and Barack Obama was reelected. The disappointment I felt with the election results and the direction of our country was insurmountable. So much so that the thought that I still had hundreds of koozies on hand in my college apartment paled in comparison, but I still didn't know how I was going to explain this one to Mom and Dad. What happened next surprised me. By the end of the week, I had completely sold out of the koozies or drink holders that I thought I would be getting rid of for years to come. I didn't understand it then, but it represented so much more than a koozie. It represented the community of like-minded young women that wanted that support and encouragement now more than ever with Obama's second term on the horizon. Together, each of us got a little bit stronger. Together, each of us stood a little bit taller, and together we shined a little bit brighter. And together we finally knew we weren't alone. It was then that I felt it was my responsibility to try to create a community I and so many other women across the country had wanted and craved for so long. What started out as a simple Twitter account became something so much bigger than myself. It had truly become a place of support and encouragement for the next generation of conservative women. Now, today, Future Female Leaders reaches millions on social media each and every day, has thousands of women across the country, and has hundreds of products in our store that represent that same thing that pink and green koozie did. The pride and confidence in being a conservative woman, even when the world can be less than friendly to us. In fact, sales from our store fund 90% of our operations and activities and efforts. So when you head to the exhibit hall today to check us out, know that with your purchase, you're supporting the next generation of conservative women. I wish I could say that all the problems that I and other countless conservative women face, defying stereotypes and thinking for ourselves, are all solved, but there's still more work to be done. We are working tirelessly to spread conservatism to young women nationwide and actively supporting hundreds of thousands of young conservative women in a world that is becoming so much more hostile towards them. I found that these women need every ounce of support we can garner as we fight the good fight and carry the banner of our causes in their communities, neighborhoods, high schools, colleges, corporations, and organizations across the country. These young women face tremendous backlash for their views and passion almost everywhere they turn, yet they still stand firm in what they believe in. I see them in action each and every day, and let me tell you, they are a force to be reckoned with. They are fiercely patriotic and unapologetically sassy. They are strong and they are bright. They think for themselves. They believe in America. They don't need permission to be conservative. and they believe that all issues are women's issues. They inspire me each and every day. The great Ronald Reagan once said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. These women are the next generation of freedom-loving Americans. I am truly optimistic in what they will accomplish. Make sure to come and visit our booth in the exhibit hall and meet these young and inspiring women for yourself. You will find that they are truly the future female leaders of America. Thank you for having me, and God bless America.